Hello Philippines and hello world!
Welcome to the Bizz
Talks!
The Bizz Talk. I am Clint Abaw.
And I am Eliza Jesus Salianas, your host for today.
How are you, Eliza?
I'm good, thank you. How about you, Abel?
I feel so great and excited for all our viewers because today we prepared something special.
Yes, I heard we will be having business people to share their knowledge about the business environment for competitive strategy.
You're right, Eliza. Aside from that, we are so thankful to our viewers, especially Ma'am Salita Arabis and the student from Class MNO3 of Liceo de Cagayan University.
Good afternoon, guys. I hope you all learned something today. So, Abao, we all know that a deeper understanding on how business runs or what kind of environment we are in makes the executive know more about their present or future developments of the firm.
Yes, you're right. Because the success of the business operation is dependent on the capacity to favorably influence the business environment and earn the desired profit. This is what we call the competitive analysis, which is the gathering and drafting of information about the environment and how others competitors are doing in the wide landscape of business.
As I remember, Abao, the analysis focuses on three important factors: the general environment, the industry environment, and the competitor.
You're right again. Wow, this makes me more excited to meet our guest for today. So without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, please help us welcome Miss Jamaica Alico, Miss Sheila Siniza, Miss Culilin Arquion, Miss Tricia Libardos, Miss Sheila Jaramillo, Miss Zane Nibanio, Miss Kate Balicao,
Miss Ashley Humawan, Miss Abigail Aboseja, Miss Nicolette Antolo, Mr. John Alaria, Miss Angeline Sumaoy, Miss Fiona Dingle, and Miss Trixie Reason. Welcome to the Bizz Talks, guys. Thank you for being with us. It is a pleasure to meet you all.
Thank you for having us here.
Okay, let's talk about business. I just want you to know that anyone may answer, so feel free to do so. Now tell me, how important it is to have analysis of the external environment. Can you tell us more about it?
We all know that no matter how hard we try, we cannot control everything in life. But that doesn't mean that we should not do anything. In business, we are all risk takers. And along with being a risk taker, we should also be well prepared before finally taking a risk. Therefore, it involves studying and analyzing the situation before jumping into it, especially if it concerns the threats and opportunities of the business. Monitoring. Monitoring is like more rigorous version of scanning, while scanning involves identifying possible opportunities and threats. Monitoring involves careful observation of the external business environment. It takes notes of the changes in trends or events that can modify the possible opportunities and threats. There are important activities in the external environment analysis. First is scanning. Just like a buyer who is searching for a new house, she will first look on the landmarks near the place. She will search for anything that can make her life more convenient. Moreover, she will also search for possible hazards that it can bring the wanted to be far away from danger as much as possible. Same thing goes in businesses. Business owners identify the possible opportunities in the external environment. They wanted to utilize this as much as possible in order to expand their businesses. Opportunities can make the business grow and develop. Likewise, business owners will also search for potential threats in their external environment. They wanted to make sure that there will be no hindrance for them to achieve their business goals.
Another important activity is forecasting. Like it is to develop strategies for the management of your business. Like you've got to gauge your present position and forecast how it will change during your planning Such forecasts will guide you specifying strategic objectives, and the validity of your strategy depends on the accuracy of your forecasting. Depending on the sort of strategy you're developing, you um I mean you've got to settle on the forecasting techniques which will best allow you to predict how business will evolve. It is extremely important for any business from a technique point of view because having inventory, whether physical or product, at the proper time is important for creating profits. The second one is assessment or assessing. It means understanding the present internal and both internal and external environments, as well as the company's mission, vision, values, and strategic objectives. It can also provide early insight into what to expect in a potential process, the range of values based on similar transactions, and what the other less obvious strategic options could be available.
So in the analysis of the external environment, it is important to note opportunities and threats to stay afloat in the business operation.
Yes, you are right. The general environment has segments that are external to the firm, and the degree of impact of these segments varies in different industries. So, the firm must analyze the levels and degrees of its effect on operational profitability of the company.
What are these segments that affect the operation of the firm?
There are actually 6 segments affecting the operation of the firm, and one of it is the demographic segment. This segment includes the population size, the age structure, the demographic distribution, and the ethnic groups. Well, these factors are part of the environment, and we do know that at one point, these factors do have an influence on the success of the firm, more so the trends, the opportunities, and the threats. Say, for example, the population size and the food industry. The growth and decline of the population affects operations of companies because more lands are used for shelter, which in the perspective of the company means that land areas used to produce food may or may not be enough to feed the growing population. And so, companies must come up with a strategy to maintain the production of goods and services at a level that could supply the needs of the population for the years to come. We also have the age structure. The different age structures affect the operation because every age group has different needs and wants. So in this case, a company must be able to serve these people not just their basic needs but also their wants according to what the specific age group is particularly looking for. Next, we have the geographic distribution. Nowadays, there are lots of developments in the urban centers, and so people from rural areas move to urban centers to work. The firm's operation in this case is positively affected because an increase in employment opportunities signifies an increase in the production of more goods and services. The location of the business for profitability has also expanded to the virtual world, so it is up for the company if they should adapt to the new trend or not. Lastly is the ethnic groups. The company workforce becomes diversified. This implies the companies need to develop a more effective management system that would cater and maximize the talents of this heterogeneous mix of workers. We all know that a group of people having the same culture means that they share the same way of living. So, companies must be able to make a diverse workforce unified for a better working environment. So basically, for strategic competencies, the demographic segments should be analyzed on the global basis as it has potential effects across countries. Thank you.
There's also the economic segment.
In addition to that, we had a political and legal segment. It is the arena in which business organization operates and interest groups compete for attention and resources. It also deals with the voice of overseeing and implementation of the laws of the country, which has something to do with trade and commerce. The political segment centers on the role of governments in shaping business. These segments includes elements such as tax policy, changes in trade restriction and tariffs, and the stability of governments. The legal segment centers on how the court influence business activities. Examples of important legal factors include employment laws, health and safety regulation, discrimination law, and antitrust law.
Another segment that affects the firm's operation is the social and cultural segment. So the term socio-cultural system embraces three concepts. We have the society, culture, and system. A culture is the learned behaviors that are shared by the members of society, together with the material products of such behaviors. The words society and culture are fused together to form the word socio-cultural. Social and cultural segmentation. We have the culture, religion, race, region, language, education, and economic class is part of social-cultural factors which influence consumers' needs, and markets are segmented on this basis. Some social-cultural factors include population size and cultural trends, as well as demographics like age, gender, and race. When advertising to consumers, businesses keep their target demographics in mind to find ways to best reach their audience. Social and cultural forces influence the values, beliefs, and lifestyle of a society.
So we also have the advancement on technology. So nowadays, we are surrounded by social media, especially in doing business activities. So the advancement on technology has really made our life very easier. So according to my research, technology in the recent century has grown tremendously. We have mobile phones and of course a computer, which has made our lives very simpler. So it's very difficult to imagine a world without technologies, right? So especially in our business activities, we have been pervasive and diversified in scope due to the advancement in the technology. So the advent of new technology has a great effect in development of new products, processes, and materials required to produce new kinds of goods. So the emerging fast phases of communication through the internet open up the business highway for the marketing of product and services. So the companies and individual customers could have an easy access to inform and make easy transaction using the information highway. So for example, Food Panda, they also have food brands and it's very easy to access and you can already order food through online and a very easy transaction plus easy communication because they allow payment through GCash and code or COD. Thank you.
Last but not least is the world of business segments. A business segment is a part of a company that can be identified by the products it provides or by the services or geographical location it operates in. In other words, it is a single part of a business that can be distinctly separated from the company as a whole based on its customers, products, or marketplaces. The globalization of the business market creates both opportunities and challenges. The present scenario in trade and commerce is the creation of borderless flow of product and services. So, globalization is the increase in the flow of goods, services, capital, people, and ideas across international boundaries, according to the online course Global Business. In the Asian region, countries are grouping together to create a free flow not only of information, but the products and services with less barriers on tariff and fees. Businesses may not be in a position to satisfy all of their customers every time. It may be difficult to meet the exact requirements of each individual customers. People do not have identical preferences, so rarely does one product completely satisfy everyone. It is great challenges not only for the firm, but also for the country in general, as a globalization needs the development of infrastructure.
So, if these segments are said to exist within the general environment, why do businesses have the need to recognize and analyze the impact of these factors?
The company must track trends and events as they evolve because the general environment often has a substantial influence on an organization's level of success. At the same time, company may try to anticipate the implication of these trends and events for them to be able to take advantage of the changing environment.
Wow! Thank you for the ladies. Next, we move to the industry environment right after this short advertisement, so stay tuned.
Go shop, beep 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 beep. Nice super shopping day today. Earn cash back 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 at Shopee. Go shop, beep 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 beep. Nice super shopping day today. Free shipping, ping 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 ping. Shopping with Shopee.
Shopee 99 Super Shopping Day. Shop now.
And we're back. After we talk about the general environment, it's time we move to the industrial environment. So how is the analysis of the industrial environment essential to formulate a competitive strategy?
The analysis of the industrial environment is a kind of strategy analysis that can help the firms to have a better understanding and strengthen the knowledge about the general condition for the competition of the firms that produce product or services within the same line category or close substitutes. Analyzing the industrial environment helps measure their strategic competencies, like searching more broadly to identify your competitors and analyzing their relationship with their customers has a direct effect on the firm's strategic opportunities for them to determine what improvements of strategic competencies they need to develop and come up with a suitable innovation, alternative, and improvements in the long run to gain the potential customers. And also, analyzing the trends and convenient preferences like the use of new technology and other favorable production and services that attract the attention of potential customers has a greater role in the competitive strategy advantage.
So what about these 5 forces? How do they affect a firm's competitiveness? Can anyone elaborate?
Yes, that's correct. I will give the first 5 forces that affect firms' competitiveness. So it was the threat of new entrants. So the firms must always be a watch with possible new entrants in the industry. So the new entrants will usually bring in additional product capacity and make the modified production that may be the same of the some or superior to existing product of the firm. So the firms was needed to be more efficient and effective in the delivery goods to the customers. And here's the new threat of the entrant could be avoided with the following strategies. So first was the economies of scale. So this was the concept refers to the efficiency against that our firm experiences, and as the size of increases. When the quantity of product produced increases, the cost of the production goes down. And this will encourage new entrants to enter the market as it will make it harder to them to compete. And for the second one was the product differentiation. So the perception that a product is unique and special is to customers' loyalty and patronage. Was the reason why many customers choose to buy a particular brand or product. For example, Jollibee, the food was the chicken joy, and that was the capture of the taste of children. And for the cars, Honda, the brand was perceived to be superior in quality and workmanship and has the higher resale value than any other brand of the cars. And the customers valued the uniqueness was a product, and they give a loyal to the manufacturer and company that produced it. And the third one was the capital requirements. So the company needs to have a necessary capital to enter a new market, to hire the necessary manpower and technology, and overcome to obstacle in the way of the overcoming those in the market, and to compete the new market. To organization must develop a strategy and to implement to the efficiently. The market was to opportunity to may be attractive, but the risk is greater as it will require new system of the marketing and the promotional strategy and the newness in product, the features and innovation. So the fourth one was the access to distribution channels. So this could be the particularly true with consumer the products were some of shelves and facilities to provide with the firm and will be difficult for the new entrants to occupy the new spaces. The new entrants can be faced a strong buyer to entry to hold firm as established to foothold on their distribution. So the new entrants will have to make a price break or cooperative advertising, which will be added expenses and reduce profit or even incur the losses for the new entrants in these types of products. And lastly is the government regulations. So the government policy to license the permit requirement can also control new entrants to the industry. So the government regulations on the quality service and the capital requirements would be discouraged for the new entrants. For the new entrant to enter this market, they will be need to exist the line, the franchise, and improve their facilities and service, and which will require for the huge investments.
The power of suppliers. So the suppliers have the ability to affect the price, the power of an individual supplier to affect the pricing of the marketplace in their favor. So it depends upon their product or the service uniqueness. So one advantage of the suppliers is that when the area are limited, has the limited number of that product or service. So of course the suppliers can affect the price. It depends on the quality and the material used in the product or service. So suppliers may also gain supplier power when the cost to the buyers is high when changing from one supplier to another. So these are the power of suppliers powerful under the following. So first we have when it's dominated by the large companies. Second is when they are more concentrated than the industries itself. Third is that when there is no substitutional available. Fourth is when the industry is not significant customers for the suppliers. Fifth is that when suppliers' goods are critical to the firm's success. And the last is when it poses threat to the integrate power forward into the buyer's industry. So the second is the buyer's bargaining power. So if the retailer or the store has a small number of buyers, that is when the customers have the advantage to negotiate a better price. So one specific reason for that is that the supplier is when they have no choice but to satisfy the customers according to the product's price. So even so, if the buyers is not satisfied, when they can easily switch to another industry's products, just like for example, you and your family, when you go to the market, we prefer to buy products with less price and has a good quality. That is why most people or all of us tend to ask most of the sellers and choose the better one or the most cheap product. So the customers group has a bargaining power under the following. So first we have when they purchase a large number of volume firm's output, when there is available substitute of the similar quality, when the sales are significant portion of the firm's sales value, and last one is when the buyers or dealer can be treated or for backward integration.
The treat of substitute products. Substitutes are products offered by a different industry than the one that we are competing in that potentially can satisfy the customer's needs. So here are some examples of substitutes. What products from different industries could act as a substitute to hot coffee? If coffee were to become too expensive and we are looking for a warm drink to socialize over or possibly caffeine, a cup of tea could act as a great substitute. If it's Valentine's Day, you might bring your loved ones a roses, but you could also bring us chocolates instead. There is other ways to satisfy the need as well. Some of the factors to assess the creed from substitutes include the availability of substitute, the quality and the performance of substitutes, and of course the price of substitutes. If you are on a tight budget and we are going to school or going to somewhere, taking the gym might be a great alternative to taking a taxi cab every single day. So that's how important to know what is the trick of the power of competition. It is the number of competitors and their strength in comparison. So if competitors in the industry generate a lot of profit or are really strong in comparison, there is a potential to them to generate a lot of profit. If they are not already doing, in terms of industry, if the rivalry in an industry is intense, then companies often have to lower their prices and provide various other type of incentives to attract customers and continue trading and continue generating enough interest in their products. If the rivalry is not intense in an industry, the profits are generally high throughout. There are 5 factors that intensify the power of competition: the presence of balanced competitors, the slow industrial growth in some sectors, higher fixed costs of some firms, high storage costs of some products, and lastly, the low products differentiation of and switching costs.
So, what is then the relation between industry analysis and strategic action? Is it really need to develop effective strategic actions?
Well, to answer your question, the relation between industry analysis and strategic action is really important because industry analysis is a tool that facilitates a company's understanding its position relative to other companies that produce similar products or services. And yes, it is needed to develop effective strategic actions because a strategic action plan explains how you're going to make your strategy a reality. Understanding the forces at work in the overall industry is an important component of effective strategic planning.
So we talk about the general and the industrial environment. How about the analysis of the industry competition? What is the purpose of it? Or how it is necessary?
Yes, Miss Eliza. Good afternoon, everyone. I am Trixie Gredon Rizan. In the analysis of industry competition, the environment of competitors is the final stage of the research, since it has a direct impact on the firm's position in the industry. The heated rivalry develops a strong desire to comprehend the opponent's moves. So to stay afloat in the industry, the company must be able to devise countermeasures and strategies, gathering of facts and information that can help the firm comprehend its opponent's intention, and strategic actions is critical to an effective competitor analysis. So to collect the necessary data, the company must establish a competitor intelligence network that will give data and information as a baseline for counter strategic operations. So the company must be able to obtain this following information, like competitors' future goals, the competitors' current strategic actions, their assumption about the industry held by competitors, and also their strengths and capabilities as well as their flaws, and their government's global market policy. Those I mentioned are the insights that are required to develop high quality strategic judgments when competing against industry rivals. The intelligence network of competitors will play a critical role in the company's efforts to achieve its goals of being the industry's best. So that will be all.
Wow, I really learned a lot today about.
Indeed, Eliza, the results of this environment analysis will help the firm understand the external environment which influences the strategic intent, vision, and mission, as well as their strategic action. The different factors in the environment that influences the operational competitive advantage of the company affects the profit potential of the said company.
Yes! And the challenge of these firms will be identifying their position against the environmental factors and developing strategies that will overcome their competitive influence. Eventually, the use of this analysis will help improve their performance in the business field.
Alright, it's time to wrap up the show. We really appreciate you coming to the show. We are sure that our viewers have also learned a lot from you guys.
Thank you for having us in the show. It has been amazing.
Join us next week on the Bizz Talks. I am Eliza Isusalianas.
And I am Clint Anthony Siabaw, your host for today. Thank you for watching.